Hello, everybody. Welcome to Most Wanted Topics. I'm your host, Kevin Dennison. Along with me, per usual, is Atomic Tommy. How you doing, Atomic Tommy?
Man, feeling great, feeling rested, back from a week break.
Back from vacation, well rested. Oh, it looks like you got your ears lowered a little bit. Like, nice holiday dew.
Yep, got a nice little haircut today, before we filmed.
Yeah, we're back. We had a nice long extended weekend, which is why we didn't film the podcast last Monday, because we were just getting off the Thanksgiving break. And I tell you what, we destroyed our turkey. We made it count every way.
We did.
There was turkey leftovers, there was turkey sandwiches, turkey gravy, you name it, anything turkey, we had it. We destroyed our bird. It was an awesome Thanksgiving. We watched a lot of football. We spent time as a family. It was nice just to be away from things. And then, of course, Black Friday and Saturday was super busy at the store. And our toy drive and diapers and wipe drive, our Toys and Tushies campaign continues at the store. And we want to bring that up to you because we're back full swing in action here. And this week is our last week of the drive for the Union Gospel Mission.
Until the 14th.
And you guys, we are doing awesome with the toys. You guys have donated great toys. We really appreciate it. Keep them coming. But if you can find time and spare money in the budget, please give us some more diapers, wipes, and socks. We do need more diapers, wipes, and socks. So we're really pushing hard this last week on the diapers, any size, wipes, and then socks. Again,
all for the
socks,
Union
boys,
Gospel
all for the Union Gospel Mission, the homeless shelter. We really do appreciate your support. This is a big one that we like to do at the end of every year, and we keep that in our hearts. And we just asked for your support this last week going forward. And also, another reason to come into our store besides the donation is it's Key Under a Tree Week. So we have our key and wall books for 20% off. So put a key under the tree. That's our event coming up. And then also, don't forget our version of Elf on the Shelf, which is Doom in a Room. So look for that pesky Dr. Doom somewhere in the store every day. It changes places. You find it, you just let us know. You get a free dollar book from the dollar bin. And so we're rocking and rolling Most Wanted comics, and we have a lot to talk about since we've been gone. We have some comics to go over and discuss, and we also have some entertainment on TV coming out that we need to talk about.
Right.
So let's dig right in. People, Tommy, have missed your takes because you've been gone for a couple weeks. We want to know what your thoughts are. I mean, I can give you mine. After reading all the Absolute stuff, I got to tell you, as an avid Absolute reader, they've knocked it out of the park with Absolute. But
I mean,
but I'm gonna let you take it away. Let's talk about what else is going on in the comic world and what's to come.
So I want to take it back a couple of weeks because I missed talking about Rockefellers, the new Ghost Machine title by Peter J. Tomasi and Francis Manapul. I'm a huge Francis Manapul fan. I've said that before. I follow his work.
We're trying to get him to the store.
I've been following his work ever since he did Flash in the New 52, one of my favorite runs on the character. And so suffice to say, I was hyped for this book. All of the promotion for it and the advertising he did on his personal social media and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun to see. And, it was a lot of fun also, before we talk a little bit more specifically about the book, it was fun to see collaborators and creators actually being able to collaborate and create a comic book together. I mean, if you looked at Manapul's social media, I mean, he did like pictures and showed off some of the process with Peter J. Tomasi and how they actually got together and worked on it, which isn't something you see too often.
It's almost like they listen to our podcast. Remember how many months we've been talking about, you guys got to work together. You got to get a creative team and stick with that team and work for a little while on it. And it sounds like the secret sauce, which isn't hard. Everybody knows the recipe. They're finally starting to get into Hell's Kitchen and mix up the recipe a little bit.
And again, it's just so cool to see not just two heavy-hitting creators, work together on a book, if separately, but it's so cool to see them actually work together, cohesively in the same room, which I'm not sure if that happens or if that's how it goes with every Ghost Machine title. I doubt that, but it's cool to see it happening here. And as for the book itself, it was incredible. It was an amazing book. All of the Ghost Machine stuff has been really, really good. And this is definitely, it's kind of a different kind of sci-fi time travel book. If you're a fan of Lost in Space, you'll be a fan of this. If you're a fan of sort of the family dynamic that you see in something like the Fantastic Four, you'll be a fan of this. I mean, they start the book off strong with some nice action. You get a very clear picture right from the first page what kind of family this is, what kind of story this is, and it just gets better throughout the issue, and I cannot wait to see where they go from there. That's Rockefellers. You got to check it out if you haven't. Also, jumping forward, I missed talking about Justice League Unlimited #1. I think you might have brought it up briefly in a last episode or the episode before, but I want to talk about it a little bit more in depth here. I think it was good. It was fun. But I do think it's getting overshadowed by the Absolutes. And for good reason. I mean, the Absolutes are another incredible example of collaborators and creators being able to work together without, huge editor oversight. I think it's pretty clear. And I think just because of how good and how well received those titles are,
refreshing. Is refreshing to see the titles do well.
It's overshadowing Justice League. And I'm not saying Justice League is like the best Justice League comic book ever. I still don't like Flash's new suit. I still don't really. I mean, it's just a Justice League title, right? But it's cool. It's fun to see the Justice League back. And to give credit where credit is due, they're doing a fairly good job keeping things consistent from title to title. So, the Justice League and the presence of the Justice League is felt in almost every title in some way, shape, or form.
That needs to happen for the cohesiveness of the story, of all the titles out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, take Flash for example, right? I think it was really cool in this last week's issue of Flash. We sort of get this in depth where Wally kind of splits himself, does a little speed mirage thing, splits himself in two. One of them is off with the Justice League, and the other one's on vacation. So you very much feel the presence and the importance of Wally being on the Justice League and all that kind of stuff. So that was Justice League. Something I want to talk about now from this week is X-Men, man. I really want to talk. We haven't talked about X-Men in a while, but I want to give credit where credit is due on X-Men here. The theme for this segment here has definitely been cohesion and connection, and I got to give credit to X-Men on their smooth connection between all of the X-Men titles so far. I think one of the complaints that people had, and maybe you can agree, is that with the last sort of X-Men run, is that things did not feel very cohesive at all.
No,
and things felt very kind of all over the place. Nobody really knew what was going on. Like, it was just kind of there, and it wasn't. And it was all this kind of, it was getting kind of confusing.
They were done with it.
Yeah,
they were done.
And I think
they hit their run.
And that's that. I mean, that was my sentiment. That was a sentiment from a lot of people who weren't avid X-Men readers, but read things like Spider-Man, right? And I think they learned from that in this new sort of era of X-Men and X-Men stories, because, man, I mean, X-Men and Uncanny X-Men are not the same at all. I mean, they are two very different stories featuring two different teams of characters, different teams of X-Men. But in this latest issue here, issue 7, they sort of start to collide a little bit. Characters from Uncanny X-Men moved into X-Men, and they sort of start to interact a little bit. And different writers, are writing Uncanny X-Men. Gail Simone is doing an incredible job on X-Men, and different writers on regular X-Men. But it was very smooth. The characters were written virtually the same way, despite some of them being different writers taking on the characters. And again, that's not something that you see be done that well in other titles. Sometimes a character will be written one way with one writer and then another way in another writer. To wrap it up, I just kind of want to give credit where credit is due and say they're doing a really good job with the smoothness and keeping it consistent and cohesive and being able to unite the story. So I think they're doing a really good job with that. I want to give credit there. But yeah, coming out this week now, moving forward to what's coming up, we got 2 books I want to mention. One, Laura Kinney, Wolverine #1, X-23.
That'll be a good
new
one.
Series. Not particularly my cup of tea, but it's a big book. People are going to enjoy it.
People are looking forward to it, I think.
I think so too, yeah. And the other one we got to talk about, Ultimate Universe Year 1, sort of the yearly wrap-up for Ultimate stuff. What's been happening, recap, maybe satisfying some storylines, and also introducing sort of what's going to be the next steps here. Important book, big book. A lot of stuff's been going on in the Ultimate so far. So I think everybody, myself included, is excited for that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think everyone's ready for a new beginning, and it's kind of their way to kind of reboot the Ultimate program. Mm-hmm. So it's all set up, and now besides comics, we have to talk about entertainment-wise TV. Disney launched and DC Time Warner launched 2 new shows. Of course, you have Skeleton Crew, which has been fun so far, surprisingly fun.
Yep.
We gave it a shot, and I know a lot of people, it's Goonies in space and stuff. I kind of a little bit of a cross between Goonies and a little bit of Pirates of the Caribbean there. So they kind of combine Star Wars but there is a cool thing. I wasn't really a big fan at first of the boy. He was really dumb, touching everything, wanting to.
Really dumb.
I just, you can't be that stupid. I mean, there's one thing with the natural curiosity, and it's fun to be adventurous and all that, but you're not dumb enough to kill yourself because you just want to touch everything. But other than that, otherwise, I was pleasantly surprised there was no political message shoving down my throat, blatantly. Fun for a ride, and yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Offset that it's not something that Disney heavily advertised it was coming out.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the important part here is. I like to talk about this because I think it's important, but when a company is scared to advertise their product, the fandom and the company I think are both like in kind of a bad spot. Like I think it's pretty clear that Star Wars is not doing so hot right now.
It was in fatigue.
I mean, could you think? I mean, could anybody imagine 20 years ago saying something like they were afraid to advertise Star Wars?
The biggest franchise.
I never thought that would ever happen, but here it is.
Well, think about this. You're like a soldier peeking its head up out of a trench in World War I, hoping that you don't get your head shot out. Is anybody out there? They're kind of sticking their head out of the trench, kind of eased into that show because they're like, we don't want to take any more fire, man. Acolyte just ripped us to shreds. I mean, everybody and their mother ripped Acolyte because it sucks so bad.
Right.
Nobody liked it. They've laid an egg. Disney lost money, and they're like, oh crap, we already made this show. We got to get this out there.
And honestly, I think it is the most fun. The 2 episodes I think were the most fun watching a original Star Wars show. Since The Mandalorian, or the Bad Batch, right? Bad Batch was awesome.
Bad
Batch was awesome. I mean, I liked Ahsoka, don't get me wrong, but that wasn't my favorite show. I wasn't a huge fan of Kenobi. I wasn't a huge fan of Boba Fett. But this show, I'm not even going to talk about the Acolyte. That was bad. And this show, Skeleton Crew, I didn't even know it was coming out. I didn't even know. I just popped my head up on last Tuesday and was like, oh, there's a Star Wars show. I didn't even know.
Yeah, unless you went to a San Diego Comic-Con or something like that, you didn't know.
Well, unless you're actively following.
Or actively following, yeah.
And exactly. I didn't know. So and I had a lot of fun, man. It was a great time. It was a great watch. I really liked the fact that they made the kid a fan of Luke Skywalker.
Of the Jedi, yeah. They had action figures of the Jedi, which was kind of a cool thing to see him playing on the bed with that.
I mean, we haven't really seen much in Star Wars, post Return of the Jedi, how the Jedi would be perceived in the galaxy post Return of the Jedi. So I think it's really cool.
That was kind of the nostalgia push, I think, to the older fans that he's acknowledging the Jedi and playing with the figures of the lightsaber, them thinking that the guy that they met at the end is a Jedi.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to watch more. I'm going to give it a fair shot because so far so good.
So far so good.
So far we'll see if we get a chunk and truffle shuffle moments. Mm-hmm. So they want to see the Goonies. We'll see if we can get one of those out of the Elephant Kid.
Yep. We'll see.
We'll see. It should be fun. And the next one, Gunn does it again, coming out with Creatures and Commandos. We gave that a fair watch.
Creature Commandos.
Oh, sorry, Creature and Commandos.
Creature and Commandos.
Creature Commandos. Just a premise. If you haven't watched it or you're planning on watching it and you have children, it's not a children's show.
It is not a children's show just because it's a cartoon. Just
because it's a cartoon, just a little parental advisory thing, be be a good parent at your own risk, letting them watch it.
Yeah.
Because there's some moments in there that's not kid appropriate. But anyway, we digress. It's definitely for an adult crowd, and James Gunn does a good job.
Yep.
How he makes, like you said, Tommy, you made a good point about making the obscure characters, the D-list characters, relevant is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And but there are, I mean, people like Frankenstein, you know, and
Yeah.
But I'll let you talk about that show for a couple minutes, and then we'll get on with the rest of the show.
You know, I think this is very much a James Gunn. I mean, it screams James Gunn, everything he does. I mean, taking the F tier. I mean, these guys, I mean, this is not, these characters, man, like, these are not even D-list characters. Like, these are F tier characters. Like, these characters are the definition
Very obscure
of scraping the bottom of the barrel, right? I mean, even more so than the Suicide Squad movie from the 2021 Suicide Squad movie, even more so than the Guardians. Like, I mean, this is really bottom of the barrel stuff. But in James Gunn fashion, he takes these characters and he just puts them into the forefront of a television show in hopes of giving a name to these obscure characters. What I'll say, though, is I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, it worked with Guardians, and it worked with Guardians of the Galaxy because it was a blockbuster film. It was a Marvel film. Marvel was huge. I mean, prior to 2014, nobody cared. Nobody gave a flying frick about the Guardians of the Galaxy, okay? Like, they were nobodies. Nobody cared. But James Gunn put them on the map. Put them on the map with a blockbuster film. Did it again to some extent with, like, Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. I mean, Peacemaker is, like, everywhere in DC now. You can't. I mean, he's in the absolutes. He was in Absolute Power. He was in Titans. He just pops up everywhere now, and that's because of James Gunn taking a D-list character that nobody even knows exists and throwing him to the forefront of a television show. And now he's trying to do it again here with Creature Commandos. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I enjoyed it. I far more enjoyed the fact that this is clearly the beginning of a universe more than I did the characters. It was funny. I wouldn't say it was I'm rolling around kind of a funny.
No, it just had some jokes, but it does do a good job of tying worlds together with, like, Wonder Woman and
yeah,
stuff like
you know, and it was. But what I think is most impressive about it, and what I think is the reason why everybody should watch it, is because it is doing, even in just these first 2 episodes, a seamless job of introducing a new DC universe. Because as we know, we're not going to be getting a whole lot of origins for our big sort of characters, right? When we meet them for the first time, they will have already been the hero that we're seeing. Like
right. They're expecting you having prior knowledge.
Yes.
They're expecting you already know who these characters are.
From the first second of Creature Commandos, we're introduced to Themyscira and the Amazons, which introduces Wonder Woman, even though we don't have a casting or anything like that. We know Wonder Woman's there. He effortlessly ties in Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad movie and all that kind of stuff to this new universe, just in an amazing way.
Yeah, so you have to give that a watch.
You got to give it a watch. And one thing that I heard a lot of people say when this was announced was, you know, oh, why would you start with Creature Commandos? Weird choice starting Creature Commandos. Nobody cares about it. I don't know why you do that. Well, this is why, right? This is why. Giving taking a lower tier team, a lower level of important kind of a story that doesn't really matter a whole lot, and giving it a platform to introduce a larger world through smaller, less important characters.
And let's also take that a step further, because it's also a test market to see how that rolls, because if it was a terrible bomb, he can always adjust then going into it. But this is a good way to kind of fire it out there and see how long it takes.
He's not staking the universe on a Superman movie, you know? He's taking Creature Commandos. And I'm not saying they're not going to be important characters. I'm not saying they aren't important characters.
No, but he's moving a pawn instead of a rook.
Right. They're taking, again, less important characters and a less important kind of a story and introducing a larger, more important universe with it.
I like the strategy. I like the strategy.
It's a classic James Gunn move. enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and we'll have to see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll have to recap that in the next couple weeks after we get really into it with 4 or 5 episodes under our belt. All right, so we got all that coming out. Now let's do our shout-outs for the week. I know you guys missed this, so here we go. Matt and JD, shout-out to you guys. Dan, our State Farm Man, and Jamie, you guys are out there. Thank you very much for watching. Jimmy D'Souza, you're going to have a special broadcast for the over the Christmas holiday with Jimmy talking about Spider-Man. That'll be cool. Caleb, of course, David, a.k.a. Superman David. How you doing out there, buddy? Thanks for watching us. Thanks for all your support. We really appreciate that. Mark and Mark, Brian and Brian, Jeff, Ryan, Jim, Liz. We got a new one. Emailed in, said she wants to be a part of the shout-out. Eli. Eli is part of the shout-outs. Sheila, and then the Gossage family, Pat, Sydney, Jeff, Dan, of course, our up north contingent, Ricky, Melissa. How you guys doing up there? Shanice, and then Sheila. We really appreciate all your support. Thank you for watching. If you want to be a part of the shout-outs, make sure you give us a message and let us know you want to be a part of it. We'll try to put you on there. And also, if you like what you see, smash the like button. And also, don't forget subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep this thing going. Man, we're already down. We're already almost through the Christmas season. It's coming fast. Last week for Toys and Tushies, we hope you come in and support us for the Toys and Tushies drive. And also don't forget to take advantage of Key Under the Tree to buy that special summon their favorite Key issue or wall book that you just want them to have. So with that, everybody, we hope you have a great and safe week, and we'll see you next week, everybody.